they open up with all the pyro. There's plenty of room to blow off time to blow off the pyro because Lord knows they paid for it. They blow off the pyro. FTR with Tully Blanchard and Private Party are already in the ring, and they just ring the bell with no introductions and go. And then when they start the match, then they put in a box replaying last week where FTR pile drove Ricky after Ricky punched Tully, and they explained that FTR was mad at Ricky for punching Tully because we couldn't ever figure out what the fuck happened last week because it all happened at the same time. So the announcers explained it, but all this was glommed together. This was lousy show formatting. Anybody watching this show, if it came on at its scheduled time of 6 o'clock, anybody watching it is a hardcore AEW fan. They didn't need to hook anybody. They weren't going to switch the fucking channel to another wrestling program because there wasn't any wrestling program on opposite them. So why couldn't they give these guys some entrances, B-roll the fucking incident from last week during the entrances, do an introduction, and then start the match? Because when they were doing the boxing shit, FTR had to fucking stall around to give the announcers and everybody time to do all of the shit to bring them up to date on the match. And by the time that they had actually started wrestling in earnest, they could have done it all the way I just said, and it would have made more sense. Does that make any sense?
It makes perfect sense. Tony Khan doesn't know how to format a show. But the other thing is, a few weeks back when they signed their contract, they have Arn Anderson with them. There was the angle last week, but it wasn't like they left the ring and they said, we're going with Tully. And then just all of a sudden they're with Tully. Like, AEW does such a bad job of leaving out details for anything. It's just the next week's show, something's there, and you're supposed to, I guess, make assumptions as to how it went from A to B, but they never actually show you or explain to you or tell you what exactly happened. How did Tully end up in the corner with FTR? It's never really explained how that happened.
Well, there's an interview with them later on. So, and it still didn't quite explain it, which we'll get to, but at least they put an interview on there, even though that's like reading the forward before you start chapter 1. But anyway, as far as this match, FTR versus Private Party, this is why you need well-trained veterans to lead guys. Because we've been saying since we started watching this fucking thing, Private Party has lots of potential. They're great athletes, especially Mark Quinn. Does some amazing things, gets the hang time. He has a magnetic charisma. You like to watch him. But they're sloppy. They're green. They go too fast, and their matches don't make sense. That could be said about a lot of, green wrestlers. But FTR slowed them down, led them. The match made sense. It was the best match that Private Party, I think, has had. It wasn't great for FTR. It was good for FTR. It was great for Private Party because they had somebody, not only just an agent, I don't even know if the agents even lay these matches out. I don't know how you possibly could lay one of these things out. Not the FTR matches, the normal matches they have. But with somebody actually in the ring saying, no, slow down or do this or do that or come here or whatever. And FTR, obviously, because they went through the NXT program, they're the best trained guys in the company, pretty much.
And he could work. I mean, to be fair, I didn't see too much Cash Wheeler before NXT, but Dax knows how to work. I mean, he was pretty good before he got to NXT.
Cash is looking more like an Anderson brother every day, though. He's got some good shit.
No, he's really good, and he's in great shape. And, a lot of people give Dax a lot of credit, and he deserves it because he's one of the best workers in the business. Cash is pretty damn good, too.
Well, that's why they're a good team. And the point is, okay, this perfect match. FTR are the heels. They have a manager. They got heat on Mark Quinn, the babyface. They kept him cut off from his partner. And they got heat on him. So you had sympathy on the babyface. The heels are fucking dominating him. They have a manager. They're acting in a way that they don't particularly care about the rules. Everybody's in the right spot. I guarantee you the next week, they're going to book FTR against some heels and Private Party against some baby faces. And screw up all the work they've done. But that's another reason they can't get their guys over is they fall into this every once in a while. But as a rule, there's no clear babyface heel lines, and without that, you're not going to get anybody over strong. FTR did some nice teamwork on Mark Quinn's hope spots, kept him alive. It was a rotten hot tag because the heels were nowhere near him. And Cassidy, on his comeback, it was a little fast and he had some happy feet. But okay, it was a nice false finish when they tagged Mark Quinn back in. I can't remember exactly how they went into it, but they were doing some good shit, different. You tell FTR thinks about this. Nice teamwork with the leapfrogs and everything into that spine buster that was pretty. Here's a criticism. Everybody now's doing this, though. After the babyface comeback, the match still continues on and on and on. Unless, when your babyface makes his comeback, unless you're going to fucking cut him off and get some heat on him too and give the other one his comeback, once the babyface made his comeback, your clock is ticking and your welcome is running out. Go into your shit and then get the finish done. Tully interfered, jerked his man out of the way, so Cassidy crashed and burned, and FTR hit their finish, 1, 2, 3, an actual wrestling match on All Friends Wrestling. I don't know what to make of it. It was a great that was a great tag team match, great way to open up the show. You would actually think that this is a program that is serious and has a lot of talent on it when they do stuff like this in the first segment. That's what I got to say about that.
All right.
Officer Bar Brady did the interview with FTR and Tully Blanchard, where he gave the participants in the gauntlet match next week and sounded like a science teacher doing it. What did you think of this interview before I say anything?
I thought Marvez was awful. I think just it's confusing laying out the way he laid it out. Again, I like FTR with Tully, but the lack of explanation of how we got here, and then Adam Page running in, I wasn't crazy about this.
Well, this whole thing,
Marvez is specifically awful as a.
Well, yeah, but I mean, and that's where you've got what you got. It is what it is. I'm not saying that could have been improved. Here's the problem: there was no producer in charge that wanted to tell Tully Blanchard to do something again, and that did damage to Tully Blanchard. If I had been producing this, I would have cut it off and started it over before Page even got there. And like, I know what you got with Marvez. So besides that, Tully flubbed his fucking thought right at the start and didn't recover properly. He was trying to make the point there's a big difference between almost the champions and the champions. Almost great and great. Go back and watch it. He flubbed it. He didn't get it. He was trying to get it back afterwards, and he got wordy trying to get it back. This was too long. It didn't paint anybody to their best verbal ability. The producer should have said, cut, Tully, say exactly what you were going to say, but say it like you were going to say it this time. There's a big difference between almost great and great, between almost great and the champion. And I am the difference between almost and there. Some force in his voice, and then pitch it to the guys, because then FTR, I think Dak spoke first, but Tully at least has, even though he flubbed all that up and went around his elbow to get to his wrist, he's got conviction in his voice. Dax wasn't really sure, I don't think, what he was, either he wasn't sure in his content or in his delivery, or he didn't believe in what he was going to say, or he was concentrating on it. Tully didn't really say what he thought he was going to say or whatever. Then Page comes in. Yes, we know he's a fucking drunk, but if he had a fucking beer in his hand 24 hours a day, he'd be in a goddamn self-induced coma. If he's going to interrupt a fucking interview on national television, he can put the fucking solo cup down and come in and say something, then go back to his drink. We don't need that much reinforcement. That's what makes shit look hokey. If you want everybody to know he's drunk, when he walks in, when he opens his mouth, let him fucking burp and let goddamn FTR blink their eyes a couple times. You'll know he's been drinking. He can go on and deliver his fucking news. It's stagey when he comes in with the cup. So this was nobody's best effort. It should have been reshot. There was no producer in fucking charge here that apparently wanted to tell Tully Blanchard, cut, Tully, just do it again. We've all heard that, and it wouldn't have led to a fucking fist fight. But it was meandering and confusing and too long, and I wrote I would not have let this air who produced this. Everybody could have done better. Everybody in the fucking piece, except for Marvez, could have done better and does, and should have had the opportunity to do it again. And it wasn't live. I refuse to believe they were live at 7:15 on Eastern on Saturday night. This obviously was a taped show, correct? Well, for one thing, yes, because goddamn it came on 30 minutes late. So they could have redone it. Do you see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
You get more than one chance at the goddamn pre-tapes. That's why they're pre-tapes. Take advantage of that.